Welcome to the Creative Execution Lab. Today, our goal is pretty simple. We're going to build a bulletproof blueprint for your VCE English creative response. We're talking about taking that little spark of an idea and forging it into a structured, really high-scoring piece of writing. So, let's dive in.
You know the feeling, right? The clock is ticking, the pressure is on, and that blank page is just staring back at you. That creative task can feel like the most unpredictable part of the whole exam. But what if I told you there's a reliable method to turn all that pressure into a focused, powerful plan every single time?
So here's our game plan. First, we're cracking the code on the creative task itself. Then, we'll put together your creative toolkit, all the essential stuff you need. After that, I'm going to walk you through a really powerful 4-step planning method, show you exactly how it works with an example, and then, finally, get you ready to create your own masterpiece.
Okay, first up, let's crack this creative task. Before we can start building anything, we need to understand the architecture of it. Because, this section isn't just about writing a good story, it's about pulling off a very specific kind of creative puzzle. This right here is your core mission. You have to take the big ideas from a mentored text you've studied, fuse them with one of the stimuli they give you in the exam, and then channel all of that into a creative form, like a monologue or a short story. It's this awesome blend of deep thinking and structured creativity. All right, on to Section 2, putting together your creative toolkit. Think of these as the absolute must-have elements you'll use to build your response. Getting these down is totally non-negotiable. First in the toolkit is your framework. This is basically the theme or the big conceptual playground you'll be in. For our whole session today, we're going to focus on one framework, coming of age. That messy, complicated, but totally universal journey of figuring out who you are. And this quote, it just perfectly captures that coming-of-age idea. It's not just about getting older, right? It's this complex process of shedding the identities that don't fit until you find the one that does. This is the kind of deep thinking examiners are really looking for. Next up in the toolkit, your mentor texts. Now these are your case studies. They're basically brilliant examples of how others have already tackled your framework. You might study a powerful speech like Adichie's The Dangers of a Single Story, a short story like Thank You, Ma'am, or a classic poem like The Road Not Taken. Your job isn't to just name drop them, it's to absorb how they explore their ideas.
Now for the wild card, the stimuli. These are the prompts you get on exam day. Could be an image, could be a quote, maybe a short poem. They'll give you a few choices, but, and this is important, you only need to pick and use one. They're designed to be the spark for your ideas.
Okay, listen up, because this is probably the most important tip I can give you. Do not take the stimulus literally. If they give you a picture of a road, please do not write a simple story about a road trip. The absolute key to a sophisticated, high-scoring piece is to treat that stimulus as a symbol for a much deeper idea. Let me show you what I mean. Look at this image. This is not literally about a person holding a mask. This is a gift. It could symbolize all the masks we wear in society, that conflict between our inner self and our outer self, or even the painful process of finally showing someone who you really are, all of which are perfect for a coming-of-age story. And same deal with this one. A road is never just a road. It's a classic symbol for a life's journey, or a massive choice between two different paths, hello, the road not taken, or that winding, uncertain route towards self-discovery. See how much richer and more interesting that is? And it works for text too. This little piece of a poem isn't just about sand and wind. It's speaking to bigger ideas of home, of heritage, of feeling totally overwhelmed, or trying to find your place in a huge world. You just have to extract the feeling, the core concept, and weave that into your story. Okay, toolkit assembled. Now for Section 3, the blueprint itself. This is the 4-step method that's going to give you structure and confidence, especially when that exam clock is ticking down.
So here it is, 4 simple but really powerful steps. First, you dig deep into the ideas in your mentor text. Second, you pick your creative form. Is it a monologue, a story, a speech? Third, you pinpoint exactly which key ideas you want to explore. And fourth, you build the narrative structure. A detailed plan here is everything. It's your foundation for success.
Now, theory is great, but let's see this thing in action. In this next section, we're going to build a sample plan from scratch, right here, right now, using all the components from our toolkit. So here are the ingredients for our case study. For our mentor text, we're going to use Adichie's amazing TED Talk. For the form, let's go with a self-reflective monologue. It's just perfect for exploring that inner conflict.
Our symbolic stimulus will be the idea of a journey. And to tie it all together, our character is a kid in therapy, trying to deal with the single story society has told about his parents, who were criminals.
All right, this is where the blueprint really comes to life. Let's break down exactly how we can translate Adichie's huge ideas into this character's very personal monologue. So first up, Adichie talks about seeing our own culture. For our character, this becomes him reflecting on the unique, private culture of his family, which is so different from what the outside world sees. Next, her point about being told things about others. This is his central conflict. He's fighting against society's single story, that label of criminal that's been slapped on his parents. And then we get to our most powerful argument. Stereotypes are incomplete. This is the absolute heart of the monologue. This is where he reveals the loving, supportive side of his parents, the part that the stereotype completely erases. And that creates that crucial balance of perspectives. The whole monologue exists in that tension between his deep love for his parents and society's harsh judgment. It's not one or the other, it's both at the same time. And finally, Adichie's call for multiple perspectives. This is where we bring in our stimulus. The therapy session itself becomes his symbolic journey toward creating his own more complex story, rejecting the simple one he's been handed.
So that brings us to our final section. We've built the blueprint, we've seen it work. Now it's all about you taking this structure and using it to unleash your own unique creativity.
So let's just do a quick recap of the main takeaways. Instead of panicking and just writing whatever, you're going to plan with purpose. Instead of using stimuli literally, you're going to use them symbolically. You're going to make sure you weave your mentor text's core ideas into the very fabric of your story. And finally, you're going to build a solid structure that lets your creativity really, truly shine.
With this blueprint, you are no longer staring at a blank page. You're looking at a launch pad. You've got the tools, you've got the method, and you've got the strategy. So the only question left is, what powerful, complex, and unique story will you choose to tell?